Hey guys, welcome back to the second episode of Coding Challenges, and in this video we have a challenge which is just remove the nth node from the end of list. So this is pretty simple. All we have to do here is we're going to be given a number and we can remove that from the end of a list. So here, for example, we've given n is 2 and this list.count is 5. So if we do 5 minus 2 we get 3, and then 4 is the third element in that sequence. So what we have to do is just remove 4 and then return this. So I think I have an idea of how to do this, and it's probably not the most efficient way, but I feel like it should be able to work. So let me just call this remove nth node, and so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to add in the list node class, and we'll just put it in there. I should probably take away all of this as well. Let's make that look nice. Oh, okay. And alright, so now that we have our list node, what we can do is we can create a function which they want. So let's add that function in there like that, and let's try it. Okay, so what we have to do first is let's convert the actual list node they've inputted into an array. So to do that, all we have to do is we have to let me just put this in here and let's run this function. So print remove nth head, and then to create the list node, what you have to do is you have to do this 5, and next we'll create this again, list node input, goes 1, 2, list node 3, 4, 5. Next is nil, and int will become we'll just set this to 2. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we actually need to what should we do? Let's force unwrap it, I guess. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to convert this into an actual list. So what I'm thinking is what we'd have to do to convert it to an actual list is, I've actually done a video on this before, but basically you have to create two variables. To get rid of that error, let me just return a list node and then 1 nil, like that. Okay, so once you've done that, I can actually go here and let's get our two values. So we need the val, which is just going to be 0, and we also need the next, which we're going to set to the head first. So once you've done that, I actually have to loop in until next is equal to nil, I believe. So while next is not equal to nil, and let's also create our list node array equals that, and we'll just do list node array dot append new element next dot val, and then we have to set next to next dot next, like that. And I guess we don't really need the val. It would be and this is just going to be an array of ints. So yeah, now I think this should be able to convert this into a list node. We'll force unwrap it since we know that it's not going to be nil since we check it here. And now let's just print our list node array here. Alright, so let me run this now and let's just see if we manage to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in an array form. And okay, yeah, that's good. So once we have it in an array form, it's actually quite simple. All we have to do is we just need to find the index which we want to remove. So let remove at index is equal to list node array dot count minus n, since as you know it's from the end of a list, and then you can just remove it. So list node array dot remove at index, and let's print this now. Print list node array, and we should just get this. Okay, and now the last thing we need to do is we actually need to return this back as a list node. So I've made a video on this as well, but basically what we have to do is first we create a list node list, a list of list nodes, if that makes sense, and then we can start merging them from the back. So var list node list, it's a list of list nodes and it's set to 0, and we'll just add these all in. So I var I equals 0 while I is not equal to list node array dot count I plus equals to 1, list node list dot append list node val, we'll set this to list node, actually we should probably give it a different name because list node array is a bit similar to list node list. Let's just call it list node items, like that. Okay, that was actually quite a few, but now let's just do that, and for the next we're going to set the next to nil, list node items I, like that. And then what we do, let's just make sure we're getting everything right. Let's print list node list, and hopefully we have the same thing. Okay, remove nth node dot list node. I mean, there's 4 values, so I'm assuming it's the right thing, but you aren't going to be able to see them. But yeah, okay, so once you've done that, we can just merge them. So to merge them, all we have to do is we have to loop through until this count is only 1. So while list node list dot count is not equal to 1, and now we have to get the last index, which is going to be let last item equals list node list dot count minus 1. Then we merge this to the second last item, which is just going to be list node list dot count minus 2 dot next is equal to last item, and then we remove this last item. So list node list dot, I wonder if there's a remove last option. Yeah, okay, so now let's just print this, and if we try and print just this, it's not going to work. So if we try and print okay, so let's just create it. Let return list node equals list node list 0, since we know that the count's going to be 1, so we can just get the first one. And now let's see what happens if we try and print this. Probably won't work, probably just return probably just tell us return list node, so we might actually, yeah, so all we can do here is if I just go through it like this, dot val, we should get 1, okay, that's good, and then dot next dot val, let's see what we get here, should get a 2, good, and next dot val should get 3, okay, and next dot val should get 5, okay, and finally let's try next dot val, and this should give us nil since there's nothing after the 5. Okay, yeah, so this is good. We actually have the correct item, and let's just return this now. Okay, now let's also see what else they have. So here, head is equal to 1. For now, let's just put this in and see what we get out of it. So copy all of that, paste that in there, and click submit. Okay, and last executed input 1. Process exit, so I'm guessing that means it crashed, Okay, let's see what happens when we try and input 1. So instead of that, let me just do, actually I'll just replace this list node with list node val1 next nil. Okay, let's see what happens. Oh, that's the wrong value. Whoops. Okay, so let's try this now, and it's saying it crashed, so let's see what happens. Okay, so it's giving us an index out of range error, which makes sense. So the list node list.count should be has 0 values. Okay, let's see. Let's just print it here. I'm guessing it should have. Oh right, it has 0 values because the range, the count of this list is 1. Then when you minus 1 from that, you get 0. So it removes this, which means it has nothing. So this should, yeah. So the length is 0. That makes sense. Okay. So what we can do is we can just say something like if list node list.count is greater than let's just think about this, greater than 0, do this, else we can just return a list node with nothing in it. So we'll just set this to val, and actually no, what we'll do is just return nil, I believe. Let me see what it wants us to return. So let's just see something, and let's just see if it works out. Okay. Wait, why does it say accepted? Oh, that's because we want to. Okay, let's test it with the data we want. Let's put 1 in there, 1 in there. Let's run this code and see what it tells us. Okay, so it's just telling us it's a runtime error. I'm not sure what it wants us though. Not sure what it wants us to tell us. So let's just try and return nil, and let's see what happens when we run this code instead. This node like that, submit, and let's, because I'm not really sure. Okay, was that accepted or okay, so runtime 17 milliseconds faster than 5.6. so yeah, this was a pretty bad thing, but at least it still works, I'm guessing. And less than 47%, so kind of in the middle. So yeah, in this tutorial we solved this env node item, and it was a bit complicated because we converted it to a normal array and then did that and then converted it back, and that is a bit time consuming, but it's a bit more complicated if you want to actually do it in the list node, since you have to move a lot of things around. But yeah, thanks for watching, and this was how you remove env node from the end of list.